Well, everybody, we officially have a World Series. What's up, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle.
What up?
Game one in that World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays offense. I think they left the Dodgers a little shell-shocked. Blake Snell, who was on a generational run, left that game frustrated, flustered.
And looked really tired.
Looked tired, too.
Really
I mean, hey, we're very tired, too, at this juncture of time. But, well, maybe not after that game. That was brutal for him and the Dodgers pitching staff as a whole. And a lot of people were like, oh, man, this Toronto Blue Jays team, they are here. But then game two rolled around, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto put them in his back freaking pocket. We saw the strength of both squads right now. We're going to break down those games and then talk about what this means for the remainder of the World Series now that it is all evened up. And effectively, if you want to look at it this way, it's just an ALDS or NLDS best of 5. Where do you want to start today?
Yeah, first I want to just say, hey, we called it. You know, we thought it was going to be a lot closer than it seemed. That was literally the title of our last video, and I do think it's going to continue that way. But let's start with Game 1, the game that kind of made us all go, oh, shit. The Dodgers, you know, they're maybe they're a little slow right now after being off for a week, and oh, shit, the Blue Jays, they're for real. Looking over here at the box score, 11-4. Now, most of the game, it was very competitive. You had Trey Savage up on the bump for the Blue Jays, and he gave up 2 in 4 innings, and it looked like the Dodgers were knocking on the door. There's a bad base running mistake by Freddie Freeman in there. They could have probably scored a little bit more if he was still there at second base.
Just to jump in very quickly, I just realized Freddie Freeman's having a bad series.
He is, yeah. He's not
base
playing.
Running error. I just thought 2 of the
one
error
in the second game.
Yeah,
Freddie Freeman not having a good series at all.
He's not doing well, man.
And it's tough because usually Canadians, when they come back to Toronto, they actually start popping off a little bit, but not Freddie Freeman in this case. Maybe he's just getting a little tired here, everybody. But yeah, what a game that was, because in around the 6th inning, after Dalton Varsho tied it up off of Blake Snell, and Blake Snell was grinding like you mentioned, and eventually the Blue Jays did get to him, and he came out of the game in the 6th inning, got replaced by Sheehan, and we broke it down on our channel. This is where the Blue Jays win their ball games, especially it's going to happen against the Dodgers if they go on and win some more games, is they got to get to those starting pitchers. They got to grind at bats. They got to make them fluster. They got to make them miss their spots, force Dave Roberts' hand to go to that bullpen, and we saw what happened.
And also, on top of all of that, they got to have a close ball game, right? We were thinking about if the Toronto Blue Jays can be down by 2, maybe even 3 runs, that's starting to push it, but let's just say 2 to 3 runs. If they're down by 2 runs when their starter leaves, and I'm referring to the LA Dodgers here, when that starter leaves, I really think that Toronto has a great chance of winning this game, just because they've been so solid, especially with a lackluster LA Dodgers bullpen, right? Yeah. And you did see that in this ball game. Trey Savage gave them an opportunity to win. It was not sexy in any capacity of things, and LA probably should have gotten more off of him, if I'm being completely honest. There was a few missed opportunities there from that LA lineup, but he did enough to just allow Toronto to stay in that ball game. And then when finally they were capable of getting a couple off Blake Snell and getting to that pen, that's when they pounced. Now, the other shoe dropped in game 2. Because whilst their starter, the Toronto Blue Jays starter, was keeping things relatively close, it actually just did not matter because they never got to the bullpen. And this is just a major credit to that LA Dodgers, and especially Yoshinobu Yamamoto for pitching one of the, and I know that it was a complete game, but I want to go so far to say one of the most complete games as a whole that I have seen. I've seen complete games before, and I'm not saying that, these complete games are way better than those complete games. But when he was on the bench and when he was in the dugout, you saw this man grinding. There was 2 guys around him, his interpreter, and then I imagine either a pitching coach or probably, somebody associated with him right there. And they had multiple different notebooks. And there was even a shot close enough that you could see into those notebooks. And one of them had all the different quadrants of the zone. The other one had notes upon notes upon notes about different players and their names and their averages and their numbers against certain things and certain counts. And he is a student of the game, and you saw that on full display in that second game. 9 innings, 4 hits. One of them shouldn't have been a hit because they classified the Freddie Freeman fuck-up as a hit.
Yeah, that's insane.
Really, I look at this as a 3-hit outing right here and 1 earned run given up.
And what's most impressive is you just saw the Blue Jays offense the day before get to a Cy Young caliber pitcher as well, Blake Snell, the previous night, and made him work and work and work. And what really impressed me about Yamamoto is not only the work ethic like you're talking about, but the ability to throw a pitch that is least expected. We saw the first 3 strikeouts he did on that night. Looking.
Yeah.
Curveball down the middle, fastballs at the knees, totally crossing up the Blue Jay batters and going with a pitch mix that was completely flipped. He mostly throws fastballs about 35% of the time, and then the splitter around 25% of the time. That splitter had some great stuff that night. He flipped the percentages for those 2 pitches, went primarily with the splitter 35% of the time, and obviously fastball 25%. So that was obviously crossing up the Blue Jay hitters a lot, thinking, well, we're going to probably get a lot more fastballs when we're ahead of the count, which is his tendency, and then he just flipped it on their heads.
I think that honestly ties all together with him just like doing his homework better than anyone, because he knows what they expect him to throw in those moments, and he also knows what they are looking for. And even though, because I said it when we were watching the game live, I'm like, holy shit, that is so ballsy to throw in a curveball right there, to Vladdy, and Vladdy's, stuck there looking. But the fact of the matter is, it actually isn't as ballsy after the fact when I really think about it, because there was no way he was looking at that, and there was no way he was even remotely thinking about that if you're Vladimir Guerrero Jr., because of course you're going to cross him up, and Yamamoto knew that, and he was doing that all night.
Yeah, I really loved that he understood the Blue Jays just hunt fastballs. There's no secret, it's out there. They hunt fastballs early, and then they try to battle and get you out. You can't go down 0-2 against Yamamoto. I said that you can't go down 0-2 against Blake Snell. They did a relatively good job ambushing him. You go down 0-2 against Yamamoto, you're going to get crossed up with 7 of his pitches. Now, moving on, looking at Game 3 right here, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, fun fact, if you are in Toronto, we're going to be at the Pint down by the Rogers Center doing a little event. So if you are in Toronto, come swing by. Glasnow up against a little bit of a surprising note here. Scherzer getting the bump instead of Shane Bieber, who's been getting the bump in Game 3 for the last couple series. Thoughts on this matchup right here? Is this the right move by John Schneider? Because effectively, Scherzer going Game 3 tells us if it does go to a Game 7, Scherzer's going to start probably Game 7.
Yeah, I would if I was the guy. Probably gone with Shane Bieber, just being me, because Shane Bieber has proven that he is the better starter over the course of the second half of the season anyways. But Mad Max has also played in L.A. before, and we were listening to the news earlier this morning, and they were talking about how there is that personal element of you want to have your leader on the bump, kind of set the temperature almost for the team, and just how we're all feeling. And I do believe that Mad Max, whilst he will be the utmost, intense once he's on there and pitching, I think that there will be an element of just pure calm amongst him as well in the dugout and leading up to today's start, just because he knows that environment so well, and he has pitched against those guys, whether it be in practice or in other outings. So I think that there are pros and cons to putting Max Scherzer there. I do think that when we're looking at that matchup as a whole, Tyler Glasnow obviously has the advantage here. The one thing I will say is that the Toronto Blue Jays hitters know Glasnow very well from his Tampa Bay Ray days. Now, that was years ago. You're factoring in outings from 2019, 2018 in there and all of the numbers, but they've seen him quite a few times. So the guys over there and Pete Walker and John Schneider and various others, they should know what he is going to be doing to them. Granted, you could make the same argument for those LA Dodgers, right? I mean, he was literally on their team, so of course they're going to know what it is that he's trying to do to them. It's going to be a really interesting matchup, Nan. I do think that at this current juncture of time, the LA Dodgers are the favorites to win the series again because they were capable of splitting, but I still like this series to go the distance here.
Yeah, how I was going to ask you the follow-up question, because all people online are phrasing this. They're like, will the series get back to Toronto? You know what I mean? Will the Blue Jays have a chance by getting the series back to Toronto? They're just assuming the Blue Jays don't go out and sweep them. You know what I mean? They're assuming like, oh, like the Dodgers are in control right now because, I mean, they do have home field advantage. But do you think this game is going to go, or this series is going to go to Game 7 in this one? And how do they get it done? Like, how do the Blue Jays manage to get it to Game 7?
So here's the thing. I truly believe that Toronto will find a way to make it back to Toronto. I think that the LA Dodgers will probably win 2 of 3 here in LA, and then that's just me giving credit to their pitching staff and then also their offense as well, right? Because yes, we saw them, drop some runs in that second game, but I feel like we haven't seen them really attack a starting pitcher yet, and I do think that's coming, right? Like at the end of the day, Toronto had the worst starting pitchers walking into this series out of the postseason teams. That's a real stat. That's just what it is, and I do think that you're going to see that LA offense start to cook, especially back at home. So I'm going to give LA 2 wins over there in LA, and I do think Toronto will be able to scrap and claw and get theirself 1. The real question for me now is that after seeing Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's probably going to go Game 6. And I guess I wasn't aware as to how dominant he truly is. So you're going to have to either beat him in Game 6 or somehow find a way to take 2 out of LA if you're Toronto, which is, it's going to be very difficult to do.
Yeah.
I think they're capable, and I don't want to flip-flop back and forth with myself anymore. So I am going to say that we're going to go to a Game 7, but I got a feeling that it's going to come down to a do-or-die game against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and the Toronto Blue Jays hitters are going to have to have taken that week of time in between seeing him and figured out what the fuck to do because they did not know the other night.
I always feel more confident getting into a Game 7 if the Blue Jays do take 2 here in LA and they find a way. Look, they've done it before. I mean, they took 2 on a road in a hostile environment in the Seattle Mariners, right? Like they're animalistic over there because they haven't seen their team play in ALCS, so that home field advantage really didn't phase them. They were kind of going through the motions as per usual, and also the Blue Jays players didn't really feel that phase. I mean, David Schneider's hopping on MLB Network doing bat flip or batting stance impersonations after you just lost. Like, it was literally the chillest thing ever. For me, man, I feel like you got to take 2 because, yeah, you're right. I don't know how you somehow figure out Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So I like, okay, clearly he's attacking us with this one pitch. Let's sit on that pitch. No, that pitch is a disgusting splitter down in the zone.
And I actually have faith that if Toronto was capable of making an adjustment and like, okay, well, now we're going to be looking for this, I actually genuinely have faith that Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to be a step ahead of that. And that he's going to know that you're making that adjustment, and therefore now instead we're going to be doing this. So again, I just have the utmost respect for him after what we saw yesterday, and I do believe that should LA go on to win this series, and should they go on to do so where a Game 6 is required, assuming he performs half as good as what he did yesterday, I think there's a real chance that's the World Series MVP, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you win in Game 7 in Toronto, Yamamoto starts 1,000%. Now, with that being said, like the Blue Jays' path to getting back to Game 6, I think you got to win tonight. Tonight's got to be the win for the Blue Jays because you got Ohtani up on the bump tomorrow. That's scary.
Who do you have more faith in beat? If you're a Toronto fan, and I'm curious to know that for the LA fans that are tuning in as well right now, who do you have more faith in giving you a W on the bump? Ohtani or Glasnow?
If I'm a Dodger fan?
If you're a Dodger fan, or if you're from a Blue Jays fan standpoint as well, right?
Probably Ohtani. I mean, he's coming out for a remarkable performance his last time up against the Brewers. Granted, a lot of these guys had remarkable performances, but Glasnow, like we said, he has a history with Toronto. I feel like we have an understanding of him, whereas Ohtani we don't really get to face too often, and 100 miles per hour. That's pretty damn good. Glasnow could touch that too, but Ohtani's a different beast. I'd feel more confident with that Game 3 matchup. I know it's Max Scherzer, but Shane Bieber hasn't really been his best. He hasn't been
great either.
You know what I mean? So it's like pick your poison. Yes, it's one start that Scherzer's had where he's been good, but I almost like that better. And then in the Game 5, you're probably going to flip it around to Trey and Snell. And I know we got Snell Blue Jays, on Game 1, but how often is that going to happen again?
Yeah, I'm almost liking the chances right now to beat Snell again over this, but I don't know, man. It's so
we suck at predicting.
We're
terrible,
and it is very difficult to predict because everything that you think that's supposed to happen, kind of the opposite has been happening. I also believe truthfully that it's really difficult to pick Toronto in any of these matchups because now that they're on the road, you're obviously giving a slight advantage to the home team right there, and every single pitching matchup is from here on out until we get back to Gausman, and even when we get back to Gausman, it'll still be Yoshi on the bump. But every single pitching matchup is dramatically one-sided. Right. I believe. I truly believe
it is. So, but the difference maker is that Blue Jays offense.
They have to come to life like they did in Game 1.
And I know the Dodgers offense, it's got some big names, but real quickly flashing over here, I mean, no one's really popping off.
They've been underwhelming.
It's Ohtani, but he's still batting .224, and it's really boosted by the last 3 games he's been really on fire. But really, that's it. Like mid 700, low 600. You got an 815 from Max Muncy, but that's it, man. So the Blue Jays absolutely do have an advantage right here. But with that being said, they got some tough pitching to try to take down.
Folks, let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on this series. Adam and I initially predicted Dodgers in 7, then the bias kicked in and we flip-flopped over to Jays in 7, and right now I'm honestly starting to feel like Dodgers in 7 again, but I'm not going to change it.
It's so tight.
Yeah, it's so bloody tight right now, man. But either way, you guys let us in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this series? Does LA take 2 of 3? Do we make it back to Toronto? Does Toronto take 2 of 3 over there? Do we make it back to Toronto, but Toronto wins out?
Do we win the World Series by Wednesday?
Series, let us know in the comments down below, guys.
Guys, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.